Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, today we will discuss about Mach, that is an MACH operating system that was invented by any other operating system. And what are the implementation details, why Mach is important and becoming extremely popular rather than in IBM and other computer systems, and what are the emulations that have been done within the Mach, and the advantages and disadvantages of Mach. Mach was been derived from his ancestry of the Accent operating system by Carnegie Mellon University or CMU. The Accent operating systems was the foremost idea behind the Mach, but it has got many development features that is developed from the scratch. The three key ideas behind the formation of Mach was: first is to emulate a 4.3 BSD kernel so that the Unix executable files can run on the Mach. Second, as a modern operating system supports many memory models such as distributed and network operating system. And the third one is to support a simpler and easier method to implement a kernel than 4.3 BSD. Initially, Mach was built on 4.2 BSD, but after that the Mach system was complete and all the operations can be done on this Mach. So the 4.2 BSD is replaced by the original Mach replacement core. Now the Mach's development followed by the Sun Microsystems Word along with this IBM with release 0 and IBM 3C PC of this operating system, and the release 1 of that particular IBM and Intel's versions of the computer system. So with this release 2 on the Mach, it supports all the components of the BSD as well as its new components on the Mach which was formed behind this BSD's environment. Now it supports a simpler kernel, which is a microkernel essentially, because it moves out of the many system services processes outside the kernel, so that the system services can be run as well as in the user mode as in the kernel mode, because the kernel only detects the supports from only get into the user mode to the kernel mode. So now the size of the kernel is many small and then comparative to any release 0 and release 1 kernel. As the Mach was evolving, new features were getting up to it. First, it was based on a batch processing system. Now it completely supports a time sharing system so that the processes can get supported while one is waiting, then other one can execute. So the time sharing supports increases the CPU throughput as well as the utilization of the particular CPU. Also, the Mach reports create the process and the lightweight process at the creation of tasks. So the processes are subdivided into sub-processes, which in turn points to threads or lightweight processes which are actually used to perform the task. Now, at the release 3, Mach become widely available in all the operating system and the computers provided by IBM and other operating systems. Now, as Mach become extremely popular, it is also available in the open source version like its OSF1. OSF1 comes a year later, where Mach was already described, but it is attached with the open source facility so that any operating system user can get the features of this Mach and easily and smoothly. The main feature of Mach was the introduction of the multiprocessing as well as the multiprogramming. It supports the multiprocessing with even the shared memory, and the shared memory that is being constrained to the particular processes or the no processes can memory share between them. So this tree supports along with the multiprogramming and makes Mach an individual unique one to among the other operating systems of that time. Now also, as it introduced the virtual memory in the late 1980s, where is in a virtual memory evolvement, so it's evolved virtual memory in such a way that it evolved messages from the virtual memory address list translation to the physical memory. So actually the physical memory can be used by only storing the processes, and when the demand page is there, so it get out of the main memory and in the disk when there is no need for the particular pages. So when there is need, it will be again getting from this disk memory to the main memory area. So that makes main memory and that virtual memory of that Mac become available to English in this TS360 and the IBM versions of the computer system, which also includes a virtual memory references area. As the main benefits of Macs was the limitation on the size of the kernel, so it made the emulation at the user mode, not at the kernel mode, because the kernel was simpler to implement, and as the operating system was built in top of the kernel, so the Mac can be used, the BSD Unix or any other operating system can be attached to it, as it will not affect the kernel operating system. So other operating system services just can be attached and deleted and modified without affecting the actual kernel. So that is all for the Mac operating system. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned with Ekeeda and subscribe to Ekeeda.